Were you asked to be in the new Harry Potter series?
No, and I wouldn't have accepted.
No.
I don't see why they need to make another one. I thought it was perfectly good as it was.
I agree.
But I suppose it's the endless search for money, and they don't need it.
Harry Potter came to me on a train in 1990. I was sitting just staring out of the window, and the idea just fell out of nowhere. It was the purest stroke of inspiration I've ever had in my life.
It started as just a simple idea, but it became so much more. The Harry Potter franchise has made a lasting impact on an entire generation of fans, including me. We grew to love both the books and the films, with the cast becoming as beloved as J.K. Rowling herself.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Rupert. Hi Rupert. This is Daniel. Hi Daniel. This is Emma.
Welcome to the largest premiere the UK has ever seen.
Of the actors, I can only say I could never have dreamt the talent we'd have in these films. And that's Dan, Rupert, Emma. They cannot know how much I love them, what amazing things they did for my favourite characters. And I just thank them for lending us their talent and all their hard work.
With the release of The Deathly Hallows Part 2, Harry Potter became one of the highest grossing film franchises of all time. So in a world that's driven by nostalgia, why is Warner Bros. Recasting everyone from the original films and remaking the series as a television show? And how did the Golden Trio's relationship with J.K. Rowling break down so badly?
There's been comments directly from J.K. Rowling. The fact that when she was asked what ruins the movies for her, she named yourself and some of your co-stars.
Join me as I go on a journey to find out how we got here and dive headfirst into the new HBO show. So today we are on the hunt for the new Hogwarts Express locomotive. There it is. Content. There's some filming happening in Yorkshire, so we're going to drive up to Skipton and we're going to find out what's happening. So here I am on the set of HBO Harry Potter. This is how the Harry Potter franchise died. But to understand how the franchise ended, we'll first take a look at how it started.
I was going by train from Manchester to London, sitting there thinking of nothing to do with writing, and the idea came out of nowhere. I could see Harry very clearly, this scrawny little boy. So I'm rummaging through this bag to try and find a pen or a pencil or anything, so I just had to sit and think. I had all these ideas bubbling up through my head. So I got back to my flat in Clapham Junction and started writing.
Trains weren't just involved in the origins of Harry Potter. They're a constant through line that defines the franchise's development. In this video, we'll show how trains, and the Hogwarts Express itself, have been present throughout every significant moment of the franchise. In the books, it's a train that brings Harry into the wizarding world, and in real life, it's also how J.K. Rowling came into the world.
For me, King's Cross is a very, very romantic place. Probably the most romantic station, purely because my parents met here. So that's always been part of my childhood folklore. My dad had just joined the Navy, my mum had just joined the Wrens. They were both travelling up to Arbroath in Scotland from London, and they met on the train pulling out of King's Cross. So I wanted Harry to go to Hogwarts by train. I just love trains, I'm a bit nerdy like that. And obviously, therefore, it had to be King's Cross.
How long you been here? Oh.
An hour and a half. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
When it comes to Harry Potter, I don't think you can overstate how important this franchise was to my generation, or to me specifically at least. This was my childhood. Some of my earliest memories of my dad reading me these books. I have very few memories of my first house. I remember my sister cutting her foot open on a scooter and almost bleeding out. I remember coming downstairs during an I'm a Celeb to Get Me Out of Here final and watching Joe Pasquale win. I remember my brother getting bitten by a dog. And one of the other few memories I have of my first house is getting my first ever Lego Harry Potter set. And this is one of the first sets they ever did themselves as well. And it was of the Sorting Hat. It was a very tiny little set. I think they were just kind of testing the water to see what would take off and what wouldn't. That memory is so vivid in my head. I can remember being in the garden and opening it for the first time and looking at all the pieces. And it's just stuck with me. And the franchise in general has stuck with me so much. I think for my generation, we went from reading the books and loving the books, and then we had this second wave of the films, and the films were amazing.
Where are we at with the movie?
Actually, we're doing really well with the movie. It'd be quite kind of nice to find Harry, though.
How involved were you in the casting process, and how much do I have to thank you?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Rupert. Hi, Rupert. This is Daniel. Hi, Daniel.
As you know, we found Rupert and Emma and they were perfect, and that was a done deal, and we still couldn't find you.
After we had looked at countless tapes and seen countless kids, I remember popping in a tape of David Copperfield. And I saw Dan's scene, and I thought, this kid really has the potential to be Harry Potter.
I shall never think of our period of difficulty without remembering you.
God bless you. I never will forget you.
And so they let me audition.
And action.
And then the first time I ever saw you was on screen.
That's a dragon egg.
What is it?
That's what that is.
What is that?
Dragon egg. If you heard your mum screaming like that, you're just about to be killed. You wouldn't forget in a hurry.
That I found incredibly moving. And I phoned David up and I said, he's great, he's fantastic. And I did say to David, it was like watching my son on screen.
Mark?
I never thought to look in here. I checked this out first term for a bit of light reading.
This is light.
Shut up.
Do you know what? It was really lucky I spoke to Emma first on the phone before I met her, because I fell absolutely in love with her. She said to me, I've only ever acted in school drama plays before, and God, oh my God, I'm so nervous, I can't believe I got the part. And then she spoke for like 60 seconds at least without drawing breath, and I just said, Emma, you're perfect.
Joe Rowling asked me to read this here today. Having seen Dan Radcliffe's screen test, I don't think Chris Columbus could have found a better Harry. I am also delighted to see that we're going to have a screen Ron and Hermione who can bicker as though they've been doing it all their lives. I wish Dan, Emma, and Rupert the very best of luck and hope that they have as much fun acting the first year at Hogwarts as I had writing it.
So J.K. Rowling had more than given a seal of approval to the cast. So now, filming had to begin. And as I said at the beginning, the whole of the Harry Potter franchise just comes back to trains over and over again, as the first day of filming began at a train station.
Never stepped on a film set in my life, never acted professionally before, and then you walk onto this enormous set with hundreds of crew.
It's not easy.
On the first day of filming, it actually sunk in that I'm playing Harry Potter, and I realised, okay, this isn't a dream anymore. This is real life.
The Harry Potter films would go on to become some of the highest grossing films of all time, and one of the highest grossing film franchises of all time. But it didn't just make money, it made an impression on a whole generation of fans. By the end of the films, it almost felt as if Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson and Rupert Grint were almost as important to the franchise as J.K. Rowling herself. They seemed inseparable, and J.K. Rowling almost appeared like a mother figure to them all.
Joe, thank you for writing these amazing books and for being such a role model to me in real life.
And they'd been a strong and constant present throughout the childhood of a whole generation.
Are you sad that it's the end?
Yeah, it's an end of an era, but it's not over because the books will still be alive, like they'll always be there.
And what does it mean to you? What does Harry Potter mean to you?
Well, I'm 17 now, so as Harry Potter ends, my childhood is ending. I've grown up with it for so many years.
I think as a franchise, is very unique because it's so easy to imagine yourself within it. And it's kind of built that way. With the houses, of course, as a kid, you're going to think, which one of those would I fit into? You can picture yourself as a student at that school. And that's what I did growing up as a kid. I was obsessed with both Harry Potter and Doctor Who, to the point where I even wrote comic books where I would merge the two universes together and Harry Potter would meet the Doctor. This is how obsessed I was. And that obsession never left me. You know, as I went into my teenage years, if anything, I just doubled down. I started building Hogwarts in Minecraft. Today, I want to show you my magnum opus, a project that's been years in the making. It's still not finished. It's Hogwarts on Minecraft. I would make little YouTube skits where I'd cross it over with the in-betweeners.
Jay driving us to school really did make me feel like royalty. Unfortunately, the royalty I felt like was Princess Diana.
I was absolutely obsessed with this franchise. Now in my 20s, I've been to the theme parks in Florida, I've been to the studio tour again, and I've carried on buying the Lego. Right back from that first Lego set, I'm still obsessed with it. I still want to buy all the Lego sets I can. But that got me thinking, I think a big theme of this video is nostalgia. So why not go back to one of those first memories I have of the franchise and look at that first ever Lego set? Now unfortunately I do not know where my original piece of this is. It's probably long gone, but I did see you can still buy it on eBay. That's what I've got here. I'm genuinely really excited to have a look at this. So let's have a look. Another box. Oh, I've genuinely, as soon as I've opened this, I've started smiling. Like the first thing I've seen is the minifigure for Harry, and it's just made me so happy. Now, unfortunately, the people I bought this from, it doesn't come with a box. It's just all the individual pieces. It doesn't even come with the instruction leaflet, so I might have to try and find that online. So this set is the first ever Lego Harry Potter set created. It's 4701, The Soaring Hat, and it was released in 2001. So I would have been 4 years old when this set came out. Okay, so I found the instructions, and now I'm going to actually make the set. This is so exciting. Genuinely can't understand these instructions. This is really embarrassing. This is for like kids. That? What? Right. And there we go. It's starting to spin. Putting Harry on top of his chair. I don't know why he can spin, but he can. We can now select our house. So, honestly, seeing this for the first time again after like, what is it, 20 years? 24 years since I bought this set. Or I was given it for like my birthday or Christmas or whatever it was. It's so nostalgic seeing this again. For many people like me, the franchise is a comfort blanket. It's an unproblematic, safe space that outsiders can be made to feel part of something until the 2020s, where everything went wrong.
Отменили детского писателя Джоан Роулинг за то, что она не угодила поклонникам так называемых гендерных свобод.
I am to birthdays what J.K. Rowling is to now problematic wizard stories. Trans women aren't really women.
Wait, what?
J.K. obviously has a sort of more of a backseat now. Is it strange kind of her not being around at things like this? Next question, please.
She's been radicalised, I fear.
There's been comments directly from J.K. Rowling. The fact that when she was asked what ruins the movies for her, she named yourself and some of your co-stars.
As you kind of seen in some of the interview footage I found whilst researching this video, the cast and J.K. Rowling genuinely felt almost like a family.
And I want to take this opportunity to say publicly that, Joe, anything that happens to me for the rest of my career, I owe to this amazing job. Thank you.
And then as we've gone on and the controversies have kind of began, all of them have fallen out.
The star of the Harry Potter films, Daniel Radcliffe, is taking a stand against the woman who wrote the Harry Potter books, J.K. Rowling. Now, Radcliffe writes on the Trevor Project, an LGBT crisis intervention and suicide prevention charity that, quote, transgender women are women. Any statement to the contrary erases the identity and dignity of transgender people.
It's been heartbreaking to see that family kind of break up in front of my very eyes. And the worst thing for me is, as I've said, growing up, my two passions were Harry Potter and Doctor Who. And last year, J.K. Rowling was slagging off David Tennant on Twitter. It's like you couldn't make it up. It's two sides of my childhood fighting each other right in front of my very eyes.
What message would you like to send out to trans youth?
Please don't feel like you're not loved.
J.K. Rowling.
Right.
I wanted to know how you thought of being called out like that.
Listen, J.K. Rowling's a wonderful author who's created brilliant stories, and I wish her no ill will, but I of course, I hope that we can all, as a society, just let people be. It's become this kind of political football,
and it's horrible. It's really horrible, the point we've got to. And there's a couple of reasons why I'm now addressing it, because the only reason this TV show is happening is because of J.K. Rowling's views. The biggest money-making venture that Warner Brothers could do right now is a Force Awakens style reboot of Harry Potter. Bringing back the original cast, but they're a bit older. They've got kids who are now going to Hogwarts themselves. That would make so much money.
Why is the internet saying Rupert Grint is returning for a new Harry Potter film? I guess this is the cursed child. I get asked about it a lot. I don't hate the idea of it. I mean, it was a character that I love. As long as kind of everyone else was on board, I probably would.
But it will never happen. And it will never happen because of that breakdown between J.K. Rowling and the cast.
I really don't believe that by having had that experience and holding the love and support and views that I have mean that I can't and don't treasure Joe. No one's disposable.
But Rowling slamming her comments in a post on X, writing, like other people who have never experienced adult life uncushioned by wealth and fame, Emma has so little experience of real life, she's ignorant of how ignorant she is.
It's so sad that we've gone from those warm, happy memories of J.K. Rowling and the cast from, 20 years ago, to go from that to her publicly slagging them off on Twitter is just horrible. No matter what your views are on J.K. Rowling's opinions, the franchise is now forever connected to them. And whenever a new product comes out, it just reignites all that fierce, toxic debate. All I want is to go back to a pure and simple time where I could appreciate this without thinking about online debates and the cast falling out with J.K. Rowling and the fact we'll never get a continuation of those original films. How do we get back here? How do we get back to this timeline? I don't know.
It looks like HBO Max, they are now in the early stages of developing a live-action Harry Potter TV series.
So, HBO Max had officially announced a new Harry Potter TV series, and it'd be a complete remake of the films, with one season of TV per book, obviously allowing for a much more faithful adaptation of the books than the films ever were.
You could say we've seen it all, but those books were so cut down.
For the movies.
For the movies.
Then they started announcing the crew. Francesca Gardner was announced as the showrunner. She'd previously worked as a writer on His Dark Materials, which is very kind of Harry Potter-y, and The Man in the High Castle, which is a great show up until the last season when it suddenly becomes a rubbish show. But it begins brilliantly. And she was also a producer on Killing Eve and Succession. So she had some really great credits behind her. And of course, J.K. Rowling was also announced as an exec producer. Then began the cast announcements.
The upcoming Harry Potter TV series has its young stars. Here they are, and they're all relatively new to showbiz. Dominic McLaughlin, there in the middle, will play Harry. Arabella Stanton on the left is Hermione. And in the role of Ron, red hair and all, Alistair Stout.
And interestingly, Arabella Stanton has already played the role of Hermione Granger.
Oh, all the copies of Hogwarts history have been taken out.
I think I'm quite similar to Hermione. I mean, I think I'm fairly good at school, and I am quite a bit of a perfectionist. I always want to do everything perfectly.
At the time of recording this, I've listened to the first audiobook they've done, and Arabella is really, really good as Hermione. And weirdly, she kind of sounds like Emma Watson. I don't know if she's doing like an impression of her, but she just sounds very similar.
They joined previously cast Hogwarts staff, including Conclave actor John Lithgow as Dumbledore.
Jonathan Lithgow was announced as Albus Dumbledore. He'd previously played Churchill in The Crown. It's a good choice, fairly standard choice. He's a bit old.
Were you excited to sign on to something that you could be playing for the next 7 to 10 years?
Look, I'm about to turn 80. Next year I'll be 80. I'll be 86 or 7 at the wrap party for this one. It's a wonderful winding down role. That's how I see it.
We've obviously had quite tragic instances with Dumbledore's dying in the past. Is he going to make it to the end of the show?
Tony winner Janet McTeer as Professor McGonagall, Papa Seymour as Snape, Nick Frost as Hagrid, theater star Luke Thallon as Professor Quirrell, and UK comedian Paul Whitehouse as Argus Filch.
Out of the rest of the cast, some of the most interesting ones were Nick Frost as Hagrid, who I had predicted months ago, and Papa Seymour as Snape, which has caused a lot of controversy, which is frankly kind of stupid. With this series, you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. You know, if you cast different people in the roles with different ethnicities, different races, different genders, you're just going to get people pushing back. Whereas if you cast people who are very, very similar to the previous cast, then people are saying, well, you're not taking chances, you're not taking risks. With me, the whole thing with casting is you're kind of doomed from the beginning, because some of the people that were cast in the original Harry Potter films were so iconic in their roles that I don't see people ever topping them. Alan Rickman as Snape is just perfect. Like, he's defined that role. So if you tried to cast someone very similar to Alan Rickman, they're just going to pale in comparison. You could have cast Benedict Cumberbatch, but then you're just constantly going to compare him against Alan Rickman. So why not mix it up a bit? If you can never compare to the previous actor, get someone new, get someone different. So I think it's a good idea.
While I'm really aware of what went before me in terms of, Robbie's amazing performance, I'm never going to try and be Robbie.
So that's our new cast.
I wrote to Dominic and I sent him a letter and he sent me a very sweet note back, and I just wanted to say, I do not want to be like a spectre in the lives of these children at all. I just wanted to write to him and say, I hope you have the best time. You
could start thinking this is a new TV show, it's a new adaptation of Harry Potter, it's going to be more faithful to the books. Maybe we're going to get new designs of things, new costumes, new sets, a complete reimagining of the wizarding world. But then the first images started to drop, and it all looked very similar. People caught an image of Nick Frost filming in London, and he looks exactly like Robbie Coltrane. Like his costume, his styling, his beard, his facial hair. We then got a picture of Dominic McLaughlin in his school uniform. It looks very similar to everything that's come before it. And to top it off, it was announced that Warwick Davis is returning as Professor Flitwick. Is this a new series or not?
As of yesterday, I think, I looked in the online and there were photographs of Nick Frost as Hagrid, and he's wearing the exact same costume that we designed for Hagrid. I thought the costumes were good. I thought everything was going to be different, but it's more of the same, which is interesting. Part of me was like, what's the point?
And there were warning signs from the very beginning. The announcement trailer featured John Williams' original score, and the castle looked exactly like Hogwarts Castle from the films. And also the logo was exactly the same. It kind of appears that they're too scared to change any of the iconography from the original films, which kind of brings us to the whole point of why bother even trying? Why bother replacing something that doesn't need replacing? But what could be different? It appears that the TV show is probably going to be faithful to the time period the books were actually set in. And it kind of appears from the filming set photos we've seen so far that they're wearing 90s era costumes, and the cars in the background kind of look like 90s era, or at least early 2000s. There's also greater diversity in the cast with Arabella Stanton and Papa Seymour. There will be new writers, they will inevitably bring a bit of a different take to the stories. And the length of time obviously will be much longer, which I think will be interesting. Will the general public's attention span be good enough? I think a general audience just wants to stick a Harry Potter film on a Christmas and be done in 2 hours. Do they actually want to sit through 8 hours of Harry Potter? Fans will, but do average people want that? I don't know. So obviously I'm filming this really long video about the HBO Harry Potter series, and there's some filming happening in Yorkshire, where I live, right now. So we're going to drive up to Skipton, and we're going to find out what's happening, and hopefully get to see something. We've come out to try and find it. There was some filming happening here in Skipton last night, and there was a wizard on top of the rooftop, and he was like moving his wand about. There's been a lot of speculation about what scene that is. Like, there's no kind of like obvious scene. Some people think it might be someone celebrating the death of Voldemort, and he's like shooting stars into the air, but we don't know. Like, it's a cool shot. But I've heard a rumor that they're also filming here tonight, but we don't know. So we're going to go have a look and see if anything's happening. It might be a wild goose chase. So here I am on the set of HBO Harry Potter. There's no one here. So we've come out on an hour's drive to Skipton to try and find some filming. There's nothing here. We found some barricades. There's the leftover hire vehicles. There's like a sort of, what would you call it, like a deco or something? Yeah, like a cherry picker. There's some cones to stop people parking. And that was it. So that was perfect. We're back. And it turns out they were filming tonight, but they were filming in Malham Cove, which is several miles away. So they were filming in Yorkshire. We just were in the wrong place. Oh well. So I never saw anything. But the scale of filming has been massive. They're building the whole street of Privet Drive, just from scratch, just in the back lot of the studios. It's crazy. The amount of money they're pumping into this. It does kind of make you wonder, is it too big to fail? Are they going to invest so much money and then a few years down the line, everything's going to go wrong? It's going to get cancelled? Because I think the plan is to shoot the seasons as back to back as possible. So if the first one doesn't do well, you've already filmed the next one. You kind of can't stop the train once it starts. But speaking of trains, they obviously would need a new one in the series. And I went on a hunt for it. So today, we are on the hunt for the new Hogwarts Express locomotive. The HBO series is coming out, and some pictures recently surfaced online of what seemed to be the original Hogwarts Express being taken to the set on the back of a lorry. And immediately I was thinking, wait, is that the original Alton Hall, which was used in the original Harry Potter films, which is currently on display at the Warner Brothers studio tour? I was like, have they managed to sneak it out under the cover of darkness and got it to the new set? But no, this is a new steam engine that's being used for the series. It's 6989 Whitewick Hall. It's a modified hall, so it is slightly different to Alton Hall, the original one. So it is a steam engine that we've not seen before, but it's been painted to look exactly like the original Alton Hall Hogwarts Express. So after some research, I discovered that you can actually find it. It's down here at Buckinghamshire Railway Centre. It's on loan to Warner Brothers, but every couple of days a month, it's in steam at this railway centre. So we've come down to Buckinghamshire to try out to find it. So here we are, trying to find the new Hogwarts Express. And I found it. 6989 White Wick Hall. There it is. Content. So we've just got on board 6989 White Wick Hall, and we're actually sat in one of the carriages, which actually does look quite Harry Potter, doesn't it? But I'm presuming, even though like these are the carriages that are attached to White Wick Hall today, I'm presuming they're not what's being used in the TV series, because the actual like quality inside feels like they're a little bit like dated slightly. But we are still being pulled by the same engine that is going to be used in the new Harry Potter TV show. It's quite exciting. Right, so back in the car now. My overall impressions of seeing it, it was quite exciting. Like, to think that that is the actual like steam engine they're using in the new series is quite thrilling. This railway centre, Buckinghamshire Railway Centre, they own the steam engine and then they're loaning it out to Warner Brothers. So there's only a couple of days this month that it's actually going to be in steam at this centre. The rest of the time it's filming, and they've actually built like this entire like railway track down there at the filming location. It's some like big estate for like William and Kate, I think, own or something. So this train for the series is effectively like a working prop, you know. There is some controversy when it comes to like that side of things. The Hall as a class of steam train is kind of going extinct. There's only a handful left, and there's only a handful that actually work and are in steam. So there was Alton Hall, which was used in the original Harry Potter films. That's now on static display at the Warner Brothers Studio Tour. There's also Dumbleton Hall, which was made to look like Alton Hall with the like Hogwarts livery, the kind of burgundy red kind of look, and it was taken over to Japan for the Warner Brothers Studio Tour in Japan, so it's on static display there. There's now White Wick Hall, which is now also being repainted to look like the Hogwarts Express and being used by Warner Brothers. So there's only a handful of these steam engines left, and Warner Brothers have taken 3 of them. And I have seen some pushback from, like I say, railway enthusiasts that like they see like static display as a bit of a kind of like a bit of a kick in the teeth almost, you know, like they want to see steam engines in steam, because like today there is something magical about actually seeing it working, and I think the argument sort of is for like if it ends up being put in static display in a museum, but it's almost like it's just sat there like dead. Another thing just to like point out, it is kind of interesting that like with the HBO show they could have gone with a different steam engine. Why does it need to look exactly the same as the original Hogwarts Express? Because it does. Now, technically, it is a slightly different class of train. It is a modified hall. But for all intents and purposes, it looks exactly the same. Why not do something different? There was previously another steam engine used for like the launch of one of the books, I think. It might have even come out like before the films came out. It's a very different take. It's like a very different like looking engine. Why couldn't it look like that or look like something else? But then I think part of the problem is that there are the theme parks, and at the theme park they've got their Hogwarts Express. They've invested like $500 million into those parks in general. If you changed the design of the Hogwarts Express for the HBO show, you used a different locomotive, those trains at the parks are going to be out of date, and you're going to create this weird problem where people are going to turn up and go, oh, but that's not the new Hogwarts Express. You know, for kids that have been born since the Harry Potter films have ended, the new, whatever they use for the new series, that's going to be what they picture. So they're kind of stuck, like, with the designs. Everything's going to look exactly the same. The Hogwarts Express is going to look exactly the same. Hogwarts is going to look exactly the same. There might be some, like, differences on the inside, the interiors, the classrooms, stuff like that might be, like, a bit different. But a lot of the key iconic, like, visuals, including Hogwarts Express, will look the same. But yeah, it was still nice to see it. So that was the Hogwarts Express. And I mean, it was amazing to see it. But when will we actually get to see it on screen? Currently, the show is meant to be coming out in 2027. But at the time of recording, Netflix are potentially buying Warner Brothers.
Netflix has agreed to buy Warner Brothers Discovery's TV, film studios and streaming division for $72 billion.
Now, you've got to imagine that if Netflix owned this, they would want to carry on making it. It's probably going to be very popular. But who knows? You know, this TV show is a very minor part of a much bigger deal that's happening. And to Netflix, these are just numbers on a screen. They don't care. If they purchase the company, it's just one asset amongst many different hundreds of assets that Warner Brothers owns. Also, as part of the deal, Netflix would acquire Warner Brothers Games, which produce Hogwarts Legacy. And currently there's a lot of rumours that they're working on Hogwarts Legacy 2. Netflix could just come in and just go, out of the old, in with the new. Cancel that, it's too expensive. HBO Max is said to have roughly 120 million subscribers. Netflix has 300 million subscribers. Those sound like big numbers, but actually when you think of the global population, that's a very small percentage. Anyone can go out and watch a film. There's cinemas within, a few miles of your house. But not everyone has a streaming subscription, or can afford one. Once we subtract people who don't want to pay for a new streaming service or can't afford it, people who don't want to watch 8 hours of television, people who aren't interested in watching it because it's a story they've already seen, people who will boycott it because of J.K. Rowling's views, it can't hope to achieve the same global mainstream success that the films did. It can be successful as a TV show, but it will never be as successful as the films were. Overall, I can't help thinking, I don't want any of this. I would have much rather had a continuation with the original cast. Just something new. We've seen these stories now. We've read them as books, we've seen them as films, we've heard them as audiobooks. We don't need another version. So in conclusion, the franchise is creatively dead. We can't keep retelling the same 7 stories. But for the next 10 years, this is what we've got. The same 7 stories getting told again. Why are we doing this?